Hi there, this is Dr. John Whitcomb bringing you news and nutrition about eating spinach, have fat for dinner, or the other way around, have fat for dinner, eat spinach. That sounds contradictory, and let me explain. We have been aware for the last year or so, we did a column about the amount of fat in a gorilla's diet. And if I asked you if you were on medical jeopardy and you had to guess what percent of a gorilla's diet was fat, and gave you choices of 1%, 2%, 3%, or 70%, I would hope you'd say 70 because you know how to take tests, but most people would say 1. And in fact, gorillas eat 15 pounds of leaves and a very occasional fruit and a little bit of omega fats in their leaves. So they get under 3-4% of fat in their diet. But that's not what gets digested. In their gut, leaves aren't digested in your stomach. That's where proteins are broken down by acid. Or in your small bowel, that's where carbs and fats are dissolved. But the tough cell walls of leaves are in fact digested in your colon by the biome of your colon and are made into short-chain fatty acids. And as a consequence, what the gorilla's body sees is 70% fat. For eating virtually none, what they actually get are short-chain fatty acids called beta-hydroxybutyrate. That means they eat a ketogenic diet. Now, we've been talking about a ketogenic diet with bredesen as that being incredibly important for your brain, but the natural consequence of that is to eat more bacon and steak and animal fat and butter. But in the last couple of years, there's some very disconcerting studies. An update of the Harvard Professional Men's Health Study showed that men in the top quartile of animal fat consumption have 70% more heart disease. That's distressing. Another study from Sweden showed that for every 5% increased animal protein you eat, you have an increased 5% of risk of heart disease and subsequent death. So eating more animal is not what's good for you. In fact, we now know that animal protein turns on the mTOR pathway, and the mTOR pathway is what we want to turn off. And when you turn it off, you encourage a burst of stem cell production. So we don't want animal protein, but we do want high fat. And how do you do that? Well, when you have a giant spinach salad with a couple tablespoons of olive oil, the olive oil is a wonderful fat, easily broken down to beta-hydroxybutyrate, or coconut oil, easily broken down to short-chain fatty acids, as is the spinach. Doesn't that sound counterintuitive? But for those of you who've tried it, you'll see that it works. You want to lose weight? Have spinach for dinner. A high-fat diet. Isn't that wonderfully and counterintuitive? What will work for me? I'm trying to cut down on the animal protein I'm eating. I've changed my breakfast from 2 eggs a day to 1 egg and a spinach omelet. And I fry the spinach in a tablespoon of coconut oil first. And I feel just as full with that as I do. I'm trying to cut down that egg even more. I'm finding another way to make spinach. I'm thinking making little spinach curries for breakfast. Having spinach for breakfast, a high-fat breakfast. This is Dr. John Whitcomb wishing you the best with news and nutrition.